Every so often I find myself falling back to my old self, falling back to my negative, dark aspect, relapsing to my fears, the fear of the notorious what if things don't work out my way, what if things don't go as I expect them to, what if actually they turn out worse than I expect them to, what if I end up creating another experience of suffering, what if I end up attracting and manifesting another experience of struggle, another harsh lesson. Although it is to teach me to let go of that emotion, it does not matter, because at some point you just are really tired from all of those lessons, from all such lessons. And then I start resisting. I find myself once again, over and over, fighting against myself, because now I'm in fear of my own thoughts. Because I know if I maintain such thoughts, if I maintain such feelings for long enough, my brain, my body, my essence is going to start looking both internally and externally for an experience to reaffirm whatever I am feeling. So it's going to look for an experience that reaffirms to me that my feelings of fear are justified, and they should in fact be there. And that's what happens internally. The brain starts recalling, and I'm reminded of all of these past dark experiences, of why I am, of the experiences which made me really fearful, and now I'm even feeding that fear even more, but more so that it is actually looking for an experience to reaffirm those feelings externally. And that's how we create, that's how we attract and manifest our fears. That's how we attract and manifest experiences that reaffirms our fears, that tells you that you should in fact be feeling that fear, otherwise your feelings are unjustified. And that's how we attract suffering, that's how we create an experience of suffering. Although more often than not it is to teach you a lesson, the lesson of letting go of that suffering, the lesson of letting go of that fear, because through its intensity, through that contrast that it awakens within you, you're aware that you just should let go. You reach to a point where there's nothing you could actually do, and you just surrender to your process. And in this surrender, you become aware that you can actually be safe through such an experience, that you can actually be safe through and secure, and you could actually survive through such an emotion. And now you let go of attachment to that emotion, you let go of attachment of the outcome of that experience, and you just detach from that fear that's been holding you back. And once that happens, there's no reason any longer for that experience to remain in your life, and so it starts to dissipate from your life. So just a little background disclaimer, a little reference point to you. I've struggled so much in my life. I've suffered both internally and externally, and through so many different experiences. Almost for the past decade, I've been in and out of dark experiences. Sure, I've seen very calm times, very peaceful times, but they are very fast to go by. They're very fast to dissipate and attract and leave another dark experience in their footprint. And sure, I've grown fundamentally, I've changed fundamentally, I've learned so many lessons through all of those experiences, because they were all there to teach me something. And the most reoccurring lesson was perhaps to let go of control, to let go of my need to control all of the different aspects and details of anything I'm going through or anything that I'm planning to go into, because that what was really holding me back. My fear of things being out of my handle, out of my control. And this is out of survival, because and this is something that probably more often than not stems from a dysfunctional childhood. Because if you can't control all of the aspects, if you're not able to control all of the details about something, then the risk is increased, then the threat is increased, then you don't know what is going to happen, and this threatens your survival. And we grow accustomed to such a need, we grow accustomed to such a survival mechanism, and so we tend to expect the worst out of any experience we go into. We tend to see the worst case scenario Because if you expect the worst case scenario, then anything else that could happen would be less intense, would be less severe, would actually hurt you less and threaten your survival less. In other words, it's not going to debilitate you, and you're still going to have the will to live. And that's why our bodies, that's why the ego need to expect the worst, but it's unaware that in expecting the worst case scenario, in visualizing it, in making amends towards it, in planning for it, in planning for a defense mechanism against it, we are actually attracting it. I am actually creating it, I am manifesting it into a real life experience, because that's what our brains tend to do, that's what we tend to do as a spiritual being, as a creator. As creators, we tend to create whatever we are feeling, whatever we are truly aligned with and resonant with. And when you are living through that worst case scenario, then it means you are actually creating it in your life. And so at some point I just grew so tired from all of those lessons, and I would go into a different experience, and I would go into a new experience thinking that this is the one. I chose to trust, I chose to believe in myself, I chose to venture into the unknown, because in trust I chose to take that leap of faith, and this must be it. This must be where the darkness come to an end, where I don't really have to struggle and suffer so much through it. But our bodies, the body, the ego feels so threatened, and it tends to carry along your past with you in your new journey, because it is as if we are telling the ego, as if you are telling the ego, the body, that now we're letting go of everything that made us feel secure, that made us feel safe, that enhanced our survival, that was our coping mechanism through everything we've been through. And now your body is in this tension, it is very stressed, and it wants to carry along, and it starts bringing all of those memories, all of those past memories from your past, all of your fears from your past, all of your distrust from your past, all of your control needs from your past, all of your survival mechanisms from your past, and I tend to end up carrying it along my new venture and start creating the same past experience in my new journey. And so I've been in fear, and so often, every so often, I would find myself falling into that fear, in the fear of creating, because in that fear of things not going as I want them to, and understanding that I need to detach from that fear. I need to detach that things, even if things don't go as I plan, it's not a problem. But once that feeling of fear arises within me, I start fearing it more, because I know that if it stays there, that if I just keep feeding it, I'll be reminded of more fearful experiences from my past, and I will be feeling it even more, and then I'm going to be recreating such experiences that reaffirms my fears in the future, and that becomes a debilitating that you just end up procrastinating, you're freezing from that fight, flight, fawn or freeze survival reaction, and you just don't want to take any step. But something became very clear. I realized something through all of this, and every time I'm reminded of this, every time this happens, it became so clear that it happens once I disconnect from my true self, once I disconnect from the present. I mean, it might sound pretty self-evident, self-explanatory, but it is really not. Once I disconnect, once I detach from myself, from my true self, once I disconnect from my spiritual being and start becoming very connected to the material, I start becoming very reliant, dependent, attached to the material, to the external, I find that this fear, that whatever or any other negative emotion has more space to surface up. Because now I'm letting go of my energy. When it was just condensed within me, trusting in myself, believing in myself, knowing who I truly am, reminded all the time that I am beyond this dimension, that I am a higher dimensional being, that I am an extension of source, that I have the entire energy of creation flowing right here through me. that the energy, the power of everyone and everything in existence is flowing right within you, the energy would be condensed right within you. But once I start caring about external things, once I start putting my self-worth, or once I start increasing the value of external things, of material possessions or material goals or material any whatever, now I'm giving away my energy, and now my energy is not as firm, it's not as condensed, and all of those cords of energy straying away from me, further and further away from me. Now there's more space for negative, for the dark to arise within me. There's more space for me to be under the control of fear, under the control of stress, under the control of distrust, disbelief. And this is, you might even think about them as the fear of the spirit of fear, the spirit of disbelief, the spirit of hatred, the spirit of jealousy, if you will. And now those energies, those negative energies get more and more hold over you. They are now able to control you. They now have a power over you because you are not acknowledging who you truly are. You are letting go of your true power, of your true energy, source of energy. And so the more I disconnected from who I truly am, the more these such negative emotions have a place to arise within me, to awaken once again within me. And so the best remedy for this is to just be present. In being present, you're not attached to the past, you're not attached to the future, you're not regretful of the past, you're not expecting any outcome from the future. And in doing that, you're detaching from your ego, because the ego is always living in the past or in the future. It feels bad about that happening, and it wants that to happen in the future. And if you detach or disconnect from your ego, now you are in more connection, in more awareness of your pure conscious energy, that you are just pure consciousness, that you're not an ego, that you are source energy. And once you are more aware of that, less and less external things have power over you, and you're able to be who you truly are. You're able to live who you truly are. And so by being present, it is the best way to actually fend off any negative feeling. It is your best way to actually let go of your fears, let go of your distrust, let go of your hatred. And the moment I am present, the moment I just breathe in and let go of it, it is as if it brings you in the moment, it grounds you into earth, and it connects you to your higher self, it connects you to source. And in this moment you are present. In your breath you are present, and in this presence I find myself able to fend off any negative emotion. I'm able to, some hope arises again within me, and I'm feeling the positive. Even one breath, two breaths, three breaths, and I feel present, and I feel positive, and I feel suddenly that surge of energy, and I'm feeling hopeful, and that fear doesn't have a hold over me any longer. But the more I keep feeling that fear, the more my brain reminds me of past experiences, and I fall into them, and I fall for that trap. The more it is able to actually feed off my energy, the more it is actually controlling me. But no longer. And that's the whole point. When you are present, you're not a victim of anything external. When you are present, when you're living in the power of the now. That's a book by Eckhart Tolle, in which he explains that your path to enlightenment is actually in being present. A whole book just telling you why being present is your way to enlightenment. Because that's your connection. Because in the presence you are who you truly are. You're reminded of who you truly are. You're aware that you are just pure consciousness. You're not thinking about anything in this or that, or you're not worrying about this or that. You're not fearful of that or this. You're not regretful. You're not unexpecting. You're not attached. And so you have all of your energy right here within you. And in that, you feel everything that you want to feel. You're able to create anything that you want to create, and that's how you get your power back. That's how you get your energy back. You cut all of those cords of energy that you've given away for so very long. And that's why I'm very grateful for just our breath. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for my connection to source, for energy, for pure consciousness. And I hope none of you will fall victims to this fear energy, or to that stress energy, or to that hatred, despite energy, survival energy. And that's all I want to share for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AF's Conscious Frequency. Don't forget to like if you've enjoyed the video, because it helps the video find its way to many more others who might actually need it.